very much, Mary. We are now going to have a few minutes of discussion before lunch. And there's a microphone over here, I guess. We welcome your questions. They can be directed to any one of the speakers we've had. Because of these lights, I can't see you.
Thank you. The last speaker's views are the ones that she expressed indirectly, seem to be in total and absolute conflict with those of Justice Ginsburg. And I covered her confirmation hearings for a week, and I doubt that there was any senator that challenged her, although there were some people last day from some pro-life groups who challenged her, but effectively in terms of reality, but not effectively in terms of political effectiveness, because she was confirmed. When are we going to get the dialogue going in the United States Senate Judiciary Committee, as well as the general political arena, bringing these views to the fore in a forceful manner?
Is that addressed to any particular speaker?
Was it a question? What was the precise question?
The question was, when is a dialogue going to begin in the Senate Judiciary Committee and in this country between those who hold the pro-choice view and those who espouse the views that we've been talking about this morning? You expressed in Humanae Vitae.
I'd just like to make one comment in that direction. We did submit this very brief for the Dianne abortion case, and sometimes there was criticism that they also requested letter writing to go to the justices. And I know Mrs. Bork may have a comment to make after I finish. The reasoning being that the justices of the Supreme Court decide cases according to law, constitutional law, and that it would be an insult, really, to play the political game and pressure the justices by letter writing or things of that sort. And my response to that is Roe v. Wade was based totally on political grounds. Anybody who has studied Roe v. Wade, there have been legal, philosophical, scientific, etc. studies done refuting just about everything in Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade claimed that in 1973 there was no consensus, there was no scientific or medical consensus as to when the life of every human being began. In 1973, that was wrong. Then there was a Senate hearing on it a few years later. Experts from around the world came and said, yes, there is a scientific consensus as to when human life begins, when the life of a human being begins. We have tried to get the dialogue going in the public, in the press, in the radio, in the church, in the Catholic Church. As a matter of fact, we can't break through barriers. We can't get a dialogue going. We can't even get the scientific facts, the embryology, the genetics, etc., that has been known well before 1973. This is 20 years later. We can't get the objective scientific facts out into the public. And you could use that against them. The American public cannot make an informed consent on the abortion issue any more than a woman can give informed consent at an abortion clinic if she doesn't even know what this entity is that we're talking about. If anybody has any suggestions as to how this can get this into the public, that's where it has to be done in the public, because the Supreme Court justices are not going to change the law.
The cost of these policies is beginning to be felt on Capitol Hill, and we had Senator Dianne Nutwell saying with this new health package, unless we deal with some of the behavioral issues, social issues, that this healthcare package is not going to bring health. There is going to be a teach-in on Capitol Hill next Wednesday by invitation only through the new communitarian network, which has on its envelope to shore up the moral and social, I don't know what, of this, of America. And the topics for discussion, a couple of the topics for discussion are strengthening marriage and family, marriage preparation, and greater parental involvement in schools. So and this is primarily a liberal organization. They are keeping religion and religious groups at arm's length, but they are still beginning to realize that these things need to be looked at, that socially we are headed for disaster.
I think the only comment I'd like to add to that, if I may, is I can hear my husband challenging your assumption that it's really possible to have a dialogue with the Senate Judiciary Committee.
If I may answer the gentleman's question directly, in April of 1974, the four cardinals in the United States and Congressman Larry Hogan went before the Senate Judiciary Committee with Senator Birch Bayh as chairman, and a full discussion of the sanctity of human life was put before them. To my knowledge, they have not invited such discussion since that time.
I have a question. I think recent studies have shown that over 90% of Catholic couples in the United States use artificial contraception. Why is that the case, and what should the church leaders and people in the parish, the lay Catholics, what should be done to reverse that?
Well, I'd say that probably 100% of Catholic couples lie. And the problem is that we always do things we shouldn't be doing. But I think the basic reason why most of your Catholic couples practice contraception is that they grow up in a culture where contraception is accepted as the normal right thing to do. It's rather stupid what could possibly be wrong with it, and so forth and so on. Besides that, they've never heard, they've gone to Catholic schools where they've been taught that, well, they've got their own mind on this question, don't worry about what the Pope says on the question to a great extent. You have a number of early theologians in the country say that contraception is perfectly all right. Follow your own conscience on this particular matter, and that's it's been accepted by the Catholic people. There's been almost a complete silence. I would say there's been difficulty. I go to church rather regularly, and in the 25 years since Humanae Vitae was published, I've heard contraception up until this year mentioned only twice in my parish. The first was at a retreat given by our mission, given by Redemptorist fathers. One priest said that contraception is wrong, and if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. So that wasn't a thing. And finally, I think, but now I believe people are getting more courageous about it and beginning to speak out a little bit more. So what you have to have is a proper education. That's the whole thing. And I would say that the difficulty here is that it's set forth actually in the very top of Splendor, the second chapter of it, it says, do not be conformed to this world. And the whole thing is that we live in a contraceptive culture. People growing up in that culture, they understand that their sexual beings primarily as lonely individuals who have to reach out to break out of their prison of loneliness and enter into tiny fellowship with someone else. The major criteria is just be concerned with your sexual partner and don't transmit any kind of a disease, including pregnancies. That's a widespread mentality. So there's a lot of work to be done, but it has to be done basically. Also, the principal responsibility lies with parents and their children.